Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your daily astrology horoscope for Thursday, December 12th of 2024. Appreciate you all joining me here. And I'm trusting you guys are having a wonderful week. Let's go ahead and hop into it, see what we got going on. How you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. Thursday's kind of an interesting day. As far as exact aspects, it's not a ton happening. Now, we do, of course, open the day with that Venus-Mars opposition exactly. Of course, this is happening at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so a lot of people will probably still be asleep. Some people will be waking up to this energy. Of course, those of you in Europe, this will be in the later half of your morning, going into your afternoon. And then, of course, on other sides of the world, this could be like your evening or night and so forth. So, you know, obviously that's going to play a big role in this energy. The Venus, the more feminine energy. Mars generally represents the more masculine energy. And I've already talked about this in a couple of these, over like the last few videos too. But, Venus and Aquarius, like I said, it wants, Venus is all about acceptance, right? It is the planet of love and all that good stuff. But here in Aquarius, it's about, how to, our vibe attracts our tribe ultimately, and what kind of people do you want around you? What kind of relationships do you want? But there also can be a coldness here because Venus in Aquarius. Aquarius is kind of way out there. It's ruled by Uranus, which is way out there. So there could be a coldness here too, where we're looking for more solutions instead of just kind of, I guess, being there for people, right? So now, especially with Mars here in Leo, and is Mars happy to be in Leo? Of course, it's in a fire sign. It gets to express itself. It gets to be passionate, but it's retrograde. It's not moving forward. It's moving backwards, rather slowly at that. So Mars has had to hit the brakes and go backwards, so that can cause some frustration here, right? It's I guess you could say potential animosity and stuff too. So with those two opposing each other, that usually, and this is rare, we don't always see Venus oppose Mars. And whenever you do see it, either one of them is retrograde or the other one's about to go retrograde. And Venus will go retrograde in Aries, right? Which is the home sign of Mars. So there's a lot of energy that's been kind of played out in this part of the chart. With the eclipses that we had earlier this year, we had the North Node that's been here, we've had Chiron that's been here, and what else is going to happen in Aries? Saturn and Neptune will go into Aries. So there's a lot that comes down to who are you? How do you express yourself? Do you know who you are? And I think a lot of the issues that a lot of people are finding right now is that a lot of people don't necessarily know who they are. They don't necessarily know, even why they came here, or just those kind of like those basic things, right? And there's a level of rediscovery that we have to have here. So now, of course, the sun here still in Sagittarius will move to 21 degrees. That's a very favorable degree, being that 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3 is Jupiter energy, and Jupiter does rule Saturn. So this can make for today to maybe you can start to feel a little bit more hopeful and like kind of looking towards the future and see the bigger vision. And even though things don't seem exact, I think that's the kind of the trick with this sort of energy, because we do have a lot of slow moving energy. The fastest moving planet technically is Venus. I mean, you can count the moon, but we don't really count the moon, right? Because the moon always moves forward. Same with the sun. The sun's always moving in one direction, and they never retrograde. So if we're looking at just planets and not luminaries, Venus is the fastest moving planet, right? So, and it's not even moving at its full speed because it's going to retrograde soon. So things are a little bit slow. There are going to definitely be some delays. There can definitely be some frustrations. There can definitely be traffic jams, whether they're actual traffic jams or just in general. Now, Moon and Taurus can help us to ground and try to, to feel better about these things, to kind of remember what's really important, and also to appreciate the simple things. Taurus definitely has to appreciate the simple things. It's about, because you can think about it, Aries really, the signs rule different areas of life, right? Aries is like when you're like what, 1 to 2, right? And then you have Taurus, the terrible twos and stuff like that, right? It's like 2 to 4, 5, 6, and you can kind of expand this out. But that's when you're really getting into your 5 senses, right? That's when you're really getting into your sense of touch, smell, taste, sight. That's when you're really getting into all of those sort of things. So that moon in Taurus, whenever it goes here, it can give, this gives us an opportunity to really kind of tap more into even just the five senses, right? Just the basic five senses, smells, touch, feel, hearing. So it's like, pay attention to those things. Pay attention to the music that you're listening to. Pay attention to the food that you're eating. Pay attention to even how the way that your clothes may feel on your body. You know, these things are going to help you to ground during this time, which is very confusing because I feel like with this energy, it's like things are kind of opening up. We can sense that the tide is turning. We can sense that, there's definitely some changes that are coming, right? Pluto's in a new sign, right? Neptune and Saturn will soon be coming into a new sign, right? We have Mercury that's going to be coming out of its retrograde soon, so that's going to be nice, right? So we are seeing this wheel slowly turn. And yes, it's not moving as fast as we want. Yes, there are some hiccups. So how can we, get through these moments? How can we ground ourselves? How can we, trust in the plan, if you will? It can definitely be a little bit hard to do so, but like I said, with this moon here in Taurus today, it can help us to just remember kind of the simplicity of life and not try and overcomplicate things. The moon's not really going to make a ton of aspects today. It does make a nice little sextile over to Saturn, right? So, like I said, this could be about bringing those senses in with that moon in Taurus, right? And that Saturn in Pisces. This is, of course, talking about, like I said, I've been talking about forever, our spiritual integrity, right? So this can even help us to maybe tap into some of those extrasensory aspects of ourselves, but, in a positive way, So, 1 + 3 is 4. 4 is Uranian energy, it's Aquarian energy. So yeah, this could this can help us to maybe you have like an aha moment here today. Maybe you have maybe you do get like some little extra intuitive insights with this moon sextiling over to Saturn. But being that it is Saturn, being that it is moving slow, more than likely whatever comes in, it's not going to be just super happy rainbow and sunshines, but it can be constructive. It can actually help us to, see what's possible, feel into what's not readily in front of our eyes, but also we can sense that there's something there. I mean, like I said, Taurus is very much so this physical reality, but Pisces is definitely the unseen. And Saturn really appreciates the structure and and wants to have a process, and it wants to have definitely wants to have an idea, wants to have an order to how things go. So like I said, the sextile here, this can definitely open us up to some, I guess you could say, some extra sensory perceptions, but hopefully in a positive way, as far as like knowing how can we integrate any information that may come via those sources, if you will. Sorry, but like I said, we've been getting this moon sextile over to Saturn's anyways, but this one's a little bit different just because Saturn is recently direct and it's just moving a bit slow. I think it's also interesting too, of course, that we do have the sun in Sagittarius, which is all about having a vision and looking at the bigger picture of things too. And Saturn and Pisces are traditionally ruled by Jupiter, right? Jupiter, of course, here in Gemini, which is in square to the Saturn. It's not exact and stuff. It's off by about 2 degrees, but it's still in square there. So this is, like I said, this is one of those days where like you don't see like a ton of major things happening. It's mostly the moon. We still, of course, have that Jupiter, Pluto that are making that 135-degree angle, which I've been saying is going to provide like an interesting backdrop for this entire week. So when you have days like today, I think it's about remembering the simple stuff, remember to appreciate the small things, remember to appreciate those little things that we may take for granted. And I think that's what's going to help us to get through this if there are any type of delays, any type of weird complications, any type of just, traffic jams in life or little frustrations that may come up. Remember to appreciate all the things in your life, especially appreciate the small things, the things that we oftentimes take for granted. So, because as you see, like, move throughout the day, and that moon is going to get really close to Uranus, but it won't quite get there. It does make a nice little sexy quincunx 150-degree angle over to the sun. That awkward stare from across the room. Even more awkward considering the fact that Uranus is there too. This is literally like that. I want to like Uranus is like, it's funny. I never really watched Rick and Morty like that. I really don't. But Uranus is definitely Rick, and the moon is definitely Morty. and it's like the moon, like the moon is looking over at the sun, which is like this weird portal, this weird adventure that they're about to go on, and he's like, I don't know about this, and Rick's like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, because Rick is already 3 degrees past that point, even though it's retrograde, right? So he's a little crazy, he's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but he's like, just trust me, just trust me, just trust me, So it's like, I think that's it's kind of like I said, I don't really watch the show that often. I don't know why that came up, but it's just sort of that's kind of the energy and the vibe I'm kind of getting here. It's that like we may be looking at a weird situation and be like, I don't know about that. But I think God, our guides are they're gonna be like, I know it looks a little bit weird. I know it looks a little bit weird, but trust me, I got this. So that requires a little bit of faith. That requires us to suspend maybe even some of our beliefs that we need to have. We have to be able to see it and feel it and taste it and touch it and to know it in order for us to really believe it. It does bring in a bit of a etheric aspect to things, but a lot of times, a lot of phenomena in life are unexplained, and then we call them miracles and stuff too. So just something to keep in mind, right? Let's go ahead and hop into the cards for today. All right. One more shuffle. Yeah, let's see what we got here. I have the Six of Cups in reverse. Yeah, so we could be definitely craving for some nostalgia, craving for the good old days. Wanting to kind of go back. And not that there's necessarily anything wrong with wanting a little bit of kickback to the good old days, but we also don't want to get stuck here. I think this is really more so talking about maybe we are romanticizing something from our past and making ourselves believe that it was better than it actually was. Not that it was bad, but maybe we're like misremembering this, and maybe there's certain emotions that we're attaching to it. Certain like to these memories and to these like I said, these memories. We're attaching certain emotions to them. We're attaching certain feelings to them, and maybe we're misremembering it, or maybe we're making it a lot more romantic than it actually was. I want to get a follow up card because I do think that that's pretty interesting. So, have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords does talk about rest and needing to kind of take a chill pill and kind of not rush into things, if you will. So I think this depiction is kind of interesting, though. It shows like this wolf-like creature it's impaled by one of the swords, and then you have the other 3 swords that are just kind of sitting there. So, definitely an interesting depiction of this card, but it does speak to this. This card does speak to a sense of needing to come home, because traditionally with the Four of Swords, it's like a warrior that comes back from the battlefield and has to be at home and rest and relax. Maybe this has to do with the whole Mars retrograde thing, right? Maybe this has to do with the fact that Mars is a warrior and he wants to keep moving forward and just go, go, go. But it's like he actually is trudging back to the natural 4th house of Cancer. That's where he's going to go. He's going to be there for a while, too. So I think there's an element here where it's like, I think we do have nostalgia for the good old days. And I think we're wanting to connect with our inner child. And Mars and Leo can definitely help us to connect with our inner child here. But I think there's also an element where it's like there's some healing that needs to be had here when it comes to expression of who we are. Maybe we've been holding ourselves back. Not maybe, we probably all have been holding ourselves back. For what reasons? Who knows? I guess that's up for you to decide. But like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with having nostalgia for the past. I just think that a lot of times we over-romanticize the past, and, sometimes we make it to seem better than it is. But the opposite is also true. Sometimes we make the past worse than it actually was. So I think that's just a question that you have to ask yourself. And maybe you'll get those answers maybe you'll get those answers today, but I think this is something that's going to definitely develop over time. You're not going to get it all today. Like I said, Mars is still in Leo. We got to wait for it to come back into Cancer. And when it does, everyone's going to be throwing temper tantrums. Well, that's going to do it for your daily astrology horoscope. I trust that this message will assist you on your journey today. If you did enjoy this, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. But as always, y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.